The truth occurs.
Hi everyone. Well, I've been looking into the case of Jerry Sandusky, who was the founder of the Second Mile, and he was also an assistant football coach at Penn State for 32 years. People just keep coming forward saying Jerry Sandusky molested them, and the most recent one is his own adopted son, Matt Sandusky. According to this article, Jerry Sandusky has been convicted of 45 of 48 sexual abuse charges against him. So, okay, yeah, Jerry Sandusky is going down for being a pedophile. Great. But the problem is not really solved because this is part of a much bigger, much more systemic problem. Italian pedophile scandal goes all the way to the top, and this is from the year 2000. It says here almost 1,500 people have been charged, but not those in high places who are believed to form a pedophile lobby. Self-styled child lovers downloaded Russian-made films of seduction, rape, and torture. Last week, police charged 831 Italians and issued arrest warrants for 660 people in Europe, Asia, and the United States. So this was international. And it says, a victory for law enforcement, trumpeted the government. Quite the contrary, said the magistrate leading the investigation, Alfredo Ormani. Speaking into a forest of microphones, he claimed a network of politicians and institutional figures had obstructed the investigation and tried to protect the guilty. Quote, there is a pedophile lobby that acts in broad daylight and probably with the support, which I would consider unwitting, of certain political parties. Then there's the case of Holly Greig in Scotland. Well, Holly is she was at the time a little girl. She has Down syndrome and she's now about 20-something years old. And what happened was that her father, Dennis Mackey, had been sharing his daughter with a ring of sexual abusers, which included a serving police officer with the Grampian Force, Terry Major, and an Aberdeen sheriff, Graham Buchanan. And eventually Holly came out and told her mother what had happened. Her mother, of course, went to the police and tried to get something done about this, and in retaliation they actually put her mother in a mental hospital. And she and the person who was investigating this, Robert Green, were persecuted and have been persecuted, and Holly has to this day still not seen justice. And that's why her website is called Holly Demands Justice, because once again, cover-up and conspiracy. And of course there's the Franklin cover-up, child abuse, Satanism, and murder in Nebraska. Basically, this was a case where a lot of very connected people, including politicians and law enforcement officials and people very high up in the government, were involved in a ring that was abusing children, using them for sexual slavery, also using them as drug mules, and also committing murder. And once again, when the kids tried to bring this to the attention of law enforcement to testify, they were systematically targeted, and justice was never served. Coach Sandusky, he got busted and he's going down. I kind of wonder whether, you know, sometimes they need to have a scapegoat go down to make themselves look better, or maybe there's a reason why he couldn't get protection. Because when they want to protect someone, they do. They just kill all the witnesses, or they make them have accidents, or they put them in mental hospitals, or they discredit them. So in this case, they let Coach Sandusky go down. But in many cases, as these articles have said, investigations are prevented from going ahead, or they come to an impasse because of the efforts of people who are in very high places. Yeah, I was just wondering, what's the deal with that? Jerry Sandusky going down, when this stuff goes on all the time, so why Jerry Sandusky? And then I found this. Speedy Sandusky trial and conviction used to cover up large-scale pedophile ring. Well, according to this article, Jerry Sandusky wasn't just a random bad apple abusing a few kids at the Second Mile home. He was actually pimping them out and running a large-scale pedophilia ring. And it says here, while the corporate Mockingbird media continues its non-stop coverage of the Sandusky conviction, we must remember that they refused to even look into the much more startling and hardcore claims that Sandusky was pimping out children to the rich and powerful through his charity. And they're comparing it to the Franklin cover-up. And as they mention here, of course, none of this is proven. It's all rumor. But you know what? Given the track record of how these things operate, I would bet you that that's what it was. Another pedophilia ring involving a lot of people. Not just Sandusky doing his own thing with a few people, but large-scale, organized pedophilia ring. This happens all the time, and there never seems to be any real justice. At best, one person goes down for it, and then the rest of it's just covered up. Why are there so many pedophiles in high places? It almost seems like you get rewarded for being a pedophile. It's like it's almost like a requirement for being in this elite club. It's just part of serving the devil, I guess. Or maybe it's just like an extra bonus that you get rewarded for. The sicker, the more twisted you are, you like to abuse children. Bonus! You go even higher. So, well, let me know what you think. And thanks for listening to me. And I'll see you next time.